Yeah.
Um, what do you look like?
Why are you asking?
Because I'm horribly superficial.
Do you know Raleigh Fingers? He pitched for the A's.
No.
Well, I'm the spitting image of him.
Oh, wait, is he the guy with the snidely whiplash thing going on from the 70s? Ooh, my dad loved him.
Yeah, that's him.
That mustache. Now you have my attention.
Okay.
Okay, well, that gives me a good start. Now let's see. In my scope, I can only tell you're a white guy wearing shorts.
It's hot. And maybe, by the way, I'm not white. It's not very, PC or whatever they say.
Oh my god, you are the whitest man. Wow. I don't need a spotting scope for that. And if not shorts, then what do you normally like to wear?
Tuxedos as often as possible.
Oh, really?
You bet.
How cosmopolitan. I didn't realize Boulder was so chic.
It is the peak of high society.
Good to know, dear, yes. Now tell me about your face. I'm looking at you across the bar. What do I see?
Hmm. Well, I have a thin mustache, real thin mustache. I got a long scar, goes down across my eye and down my cheek.
And you only wear tuxes.
Yeah.
Are you a freaking Bond villain?
I get up to some stuff, yeah.
I don't think you're taking this very seriously. I want to know about your eyes.
Get out of here.
I'm drawing you. I need to know.
You're what?
Is that okay? Don't don't answer. I'm gonna do it regardless.
Fine.
Your eyes, tell me.
They're steely, a cold, hard stare.
Like a Siberian husky.
Sure.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Henry.
You get what you need?
Absolutely.
I got that window all patched up. So, what should I do now? What's next?
What's next? What do you think is next?
Well, you've been the one giving me tasks for 2 days straight.
What's next is you sit in that room until September 1st and call me at the first sign of smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you let me know when you're mentally prepared for that task and, I'll give it to you.
Be free! Whoa, I found a turtle. Maybe it's a tortoise. It's a thing with a shell.
Well, isn't that something?
It's actually pretty cute.
Well, Henry, if you decide you want it to keep you company, nobody'll mind.
Now, what do I call it? Looks like
Oh, this ought to be good.
Shelley Duvall.
Ah, Shelley. I see what you did there. Very nice.
She's dainty yet powerful.
Well, I loved her in The Shining.
Okay, I think I am ready to tackle my long-term commitment of keeping this national forest safe from total destruction.
I am glad to hear you've really thought this through.
You know, I'm gonna hike around for a while before I really put my nose to the grindstone.
Oh, yeah, you do that.
Okay, now I'm ready. Let's get to work.
Good. Now get to work. Hello, Henry. Having a nice afternoon?
I might never leave.
Well, I called with some bad news. 2 young women, Chelsea Stevens and Lily McLean, were reported missing. They've got parents out in California who haven't heard from them in a week. They were supposed to meet an aunt down in Cody. If they're the girls from last week, then you're probably the last person to have seen them.
You should tell whoever that I'm happy to be questioned.
Look, it's not gonna be an issue. I mean, if they turn up dead, then maybe. Should I just not say anything and save us the trouble?
I think it's worth mentioning something.
Yeah. I'll keep it vague. I really don't want to talk to the cops.
Me neither.
All right, Henry, thanks. Enjoy the sunset. Henry? Henry, wake up. Get out of bed and pick up the radio.
What do you want?
Hey, you big dumb idiot.
Hi, Jules.
Oh, you sound tired.
I am.
Are you having a nice time?
Sure. Are you? Everything good there? Jules?
What? Oh, sorry, Henry. Yeah, I'm good.
Well, that's good.
Well, I'll let you get back to sleep then.
Okay, Jules.
Delilah seems nice.
Sure.
Bye, baby.
Is it too much of a pain in the ass to bring supplies all the way up to our towers?
Well, I get my stuff hand-delivered.
Oh, how's that work?
It's the perks of a decade of service. You're out hiking in 90-degree heat, and I get to do crosswords. Isn't life miserably unfair? Anyway, when you find the supply drop, remember it's not just for you, okay? Other lookouts, biologists, a few people get their food there, and I don't want to have to call in for more. There should be loads of good stuff, though. Beans, prunes, jerky. You know, my sister eats 6 prunes a day. 6. She's, like, really precise about it. She'd be great at this job if she didn't need wheelbarrows full of marijuana to function. So, like, 2 weeks ago, you called me in the middle of the night? You were sleeping, I guess, and all I heard was the name Jules through the mumbles. I just thought it was so sweet. I wanted to wake you up, but then I thought maybe you were having a nice conversation and I'd just be spoiling it. I hope you're doing okay, you know, when it comes to her.
I shouldn't be out here.
Yes, you should.
No, I just ran away from my problems.
No, you didn't. We all fuck up. Look, So, a couple of months before I took this job, I was with this guy, Javier. Ugh, he's incredible, caring, sexy as hell. He was a driller down in Casper. We dated for almost 5 years. I was working with the Wyoming Outdoor Leadership School, and I was obsessed with it. I wanted to be an instructor so badly. And I was sure I was going to marry Javier as soon as I could be bothered. Walls was also a good excuse to get out of town, drink whiskey in the mountains, cut loose. Then, Javier's brother got killed working in Gillette, and for some reason, I didn't come home. Javier said it was fine. He'd go to the funeral, take care of his mom, stuff like that. It'd be easier solo. When he came back, he left me. I came out here, I lied, and told my sister he fucked our neighbor. I've just lied about it for over 10 years. And, for some reason, I wanted you to know. I figured you've told me so much about you, so, there's something about me. We both fucked up.
Yep. Yep. Well, I hopped down a drop and now I can't climb back up.
That is a pickle.
I mean, I can just keep hiking, but I figured I should let you know in case I get myself trapped out here.
How adventurous of you.
I've been doing a lot more climbing out here than I expected.
Well, keep your radio charged. I'd hate to one day find a skeleton with an orange backpack at the bottom of a ravine.
All right, I got everything I need out of here. Time to chow down.
Just yours, right?
Who do you think I am?
You've got a front row seat for what might be the biggest fire of the year.
Yeah, it's really going.
I'm gonna call it in. They'll send in a hotshot crew for some suppression, but I bet we'll be stuck with her for the rest of the summer. And she doesn't have a name yet. I usually think of something funny or something practical or a little risque when coming up with them. But why don't you do the honors? So, no ideas, huh?
Delilah's a nice name.
No, you big dummy.
I was kidding.
No, you were not. You're sweet, but we can't call it the Delilah Fire.
Okay, what then?
How about my middle name, June?
The June fire. Even though it's July.
I like it. So there's this creek down the hill, and, you know what my favorite thing to do is?
What's that?
I love to take a bottle of whatever I have on hand, plunge it deep into the water, and let it chill in there all day. And then, on nights like tonight, when it is so disgustingly hot, I have something nice and cool to drink. I learned that from my sister in Santa Fe. She'd do that with a bottle of tequila near her house and make margaritas the size of your head. You'd like it there.
I've had one too many bad experiences with tequila. I'm a little reticent to try it again.
Well, maybe you just need a new, good experience with it.
Yeah, maybe.
Are you looking at the fire?
Yeah, I am.
I love how they look at night. During the day, it's just smoke, but when the sun is down, you can just get lost.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
Good. I don't talk to the other lookouts as much as I talk to you. Not in the same way. I know it's probably been a while since you've connected with someone the way we have. I don't mean to get all heavy, but it's been really nice. I wish I was over there.
I wish you were too.
We could sit outside. We could talk about these radios. We could, you know.
What? What could we do?
Well, let me tell you. You're going fishing without a license?
It's one fish, and I'm sick of all the stuff I got to eat.
Well, I won't tell anyone you're a poacher. That reminds me, I keep hearing reports from Fish and Game about a problem bear they're trying to keep tabs on. Can you search around the lake for fresh tracks and just let me know what you find? There was a crew burning fire lines out to the east, and, you know, I think sometimes it riles up the wildlife.
Does problem actually mean murderer? Like how Charles Manson is a problem cult leader?
Oh, come on. You just have to look for tracks, that's it.
Ugh. Can't believe I'm gonna leave this planet as a pile of bear shit.
Thank you, Henry.
Yeah. someone left their clipboard out here.
Huh. It could have been one of the Fish and Game folks. See if there's a name or a credential or something. I can call it in.
What the? It's... Holy shit.
What's going on? You didn't actually find a bear, did you?
Someone has written down what we said to each other, have been saying.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't talk to the other lookouts as much as I talk to you, not in the same way.
No way.
Wait, hold on. Something's out here.
Henry? I'm worried. You didn't find and eat any mushrooms, did you? I mean, they can be fun, but also, you know, devastating. Regardless, just let me know, okay, buckaroo? Oh, God. I don't know why I just called you that. Henry? Are you there? What happened, Henry?
Holy hell, I got hit in the head. Punched or something by someone.
Are you serious? What the hell is going on out there?
I don't know. Jesus Christ.
Let me get this straight. You found a clipboard with, what, transcripts of our conversations? What else is on it?
I don't know. It's gone, along with the radio of theirs. Somebody out here could have just killed me, Delilah.
What the fuck is going on?
What's Wapiti Station?
I don't know.
I saw the name Wapiti Station right before I was cold-cocked. Does Wapiti Station mean anything to you?
Wapiti Meadow. Maybe it's Wapiti Meadow. It's on our maps. It's not too far from where you are right now. It's where you saw that damn fence. It's north of the lake. It looks like there should be a trail somewhere on the north shore of Jonesy Lake.
I'll start hiking that way now. God damn it, my head.
Are you sure you saw what you saw, Henry? Maybe you pissed off some more campers and they came back to sucker punch you. This just seems like a misunderstanding or something.
There are people listening to our conversations. The person or these people were hiding in the bushes down here. What the fuck, Dee?
I don't know, Henry. This sounds crazy.
Yeah, and you're not the one who just saw our words on a clipboard out in the middle of nowhere.
Those words were from 2 weeks ago.
I know they were. So what's to say that they don't have transcripts from 3, 4, or 5 weeks ago?
Our entire relationship, friendship, our whole summer.
Someone is out here with a walkie-talkie taking notes and talking to God knows who. Look, I could hike over there and look around, but I won't be able to get through the fence.
How do you know?
I already tried months ago when I was out there hiking.
Curiosity got the best of you, huh?
Rightfully so, in hindsight.
Well, shit.
I could spend all day banging on it and see, I guess.
Hey, actually, those guys doing the controlled burn, they might be able to help.
Where are they?
Beyond Ruby River, there's a scout camp. They burned a line a few days ago that should let you hike right to them.
Well, that's great.
If they haven't left, they're probably the type of guys who would help you get through that fence.
I'm wandering around east of the lake. Which way is Ruby River?
It's in the southeast corner of your map. The scout camp where the firefighters were staged should be on your map. It looks like a little triangle with a flat bottom.
Yeah, it looks like a tent.
How did I never see that before?
This is Jared Emerson Johnson. I work for a company called Bay Area Sound. We did a lot of the sound editing and sound recording for the game. A lot of the ambience and a lot of the effects.
And I'm Chris Remo, and you've heard me on commentary before, but on this one I'm speaking in my capacity as, I guess, the audio director on this game, a role that I really did not deserve to have, and basically had to figure out as I was going along. We ended up developing, I think, a pretty close working relationship where we sort of split the sound design duties. It ended up being fairly half and half, probably slanted towards Jared in terms of total work volume.
Although you did you did the entirety of all the implementation, so you were sort of the mastermind of, what we needed and how it should go in the game, and I just kind of took whatever you needed from me and made it. So I was sort of the content horse, and you were the overseer and
Overlord.
the overlord of sound. Yeah. Which was great. I mean, it's funny you mentioned that you were inexperienced, but it was smoother than some projects go, and it was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, and you at one point went and did some field recordings.
The sound in the game kind of breaks down pretty evenly between sound effects, which are the footsteps and the interactive parts of the sound, where the player's interacting with objects and things in the game, and then there's the ambience part. And especially in this game, in any game the ambience is important, but in this game that was sort of really where we started and finished in terms of what the sound needed to be in creating this space. And I actually had several recordings I'd been making over the past 10 years or so, various other big outdoor national park locations, stuff from Yosemite and stuff from... I've actually been hiking on the Pacific Crest Trail over the past 10 years, which is a trail that goes all the way from Mexico up to Canada. So it's great. So, I mean, really, all of the ambient sound you're hearing is really coming from real wild spaces up in the mountains.
Yeah, and the ambience, man, I think it took us so long to dial in the approach we wanted to take, both in terms of the source material itself and also the way that it was designed and implemented.
Right.
I feel like we were revising that basically until like the last third of game development. I mean, not even just revising, but I would say like fundamentally changing how it worked. And eventually what's in the game now is sort of three layers of ambience that are mixed according to, you know, where you are and the needs of the space and so on, plus additional what we called sweeteners of environmental noise, like sort of wildlife and wind rustles and things like that, to give it some character.
This project was really kind of unique in that way, in its relationship with the ambience, because it was such a key part of creating the atmosphere of it. We spent a whole lot of time figuring out how we wanted to sort of differentiate each of the individual sections of the park, and also at what point you are in the story, and how, you know, how the ambience should subtly change. It was probably the most detailed ambience work I've done on, I think, any project I've ever worked on doing this, just because it had to be so specific and subtle, but also evoke really clear tonal feeling across the game.
Yeah, I'm really happy.
Hi, it's Jane again. So Nels, what is a controlled burn?
A controlled burn is actually a technique that real wildland firefighters use. They actually have these amazing things called drip cans, which are basically like Tin Man oil can, except they're just full of like extremely flammable fluid and they're always on fire. So yeah, it's awesome. So basically firefighters will dig a bunch of like fire breaks and then use these drip cans to light a bunch of small controlled fires to burn out all the flammable materials in an area that that a big, like, proper uncontrolled wildfire is approaching, so that when the fire, due to the wind or whatever, gets to that area is already burned, so the fire can't keep spreading kind of past where that burn was. So in the case in the game right here, the idea is that the firefighter crew burned out all the fuel right next to the river, so that the fire couldn't be blown basically across the river. That the hope is between the controlled burn and the river itself, the fire wouldn't actually spread all the way up to Two Forks and beyond. As you will discover later in the game, they did not succeed at that. As is often the case in the real world, fires are nothing if not unpredictable.
In terms of technically how we achieve this, basically we have a pre-burn sector that is all lush and beautiful, full of trees that you cannot push through, so it works great as a gate. And after the controlled burn in the story, we swapped the whole area, this whole piece, including the ground and all the trees in it, with a new piece of artwork, basically, to the post-burn sector, which lets the player walk right through.
It's interesting that, like, there's kind of this baseline of the world, and then there are these almost just two chunks just sitting right on top of it.
The world is kind of made of tiles in a way, so like we have the option to swap different tiles in and out, and this is a great place to use that technology.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
I found where they did the controlled burn. I can hike right through here now.
Yeah, normally they wouldn't do that so close to a body of water, but I think they're extra worried about a fire jumping the river and burning up to Two Forks, now that there's someone in it.
Well, I'm extra appreciative of that.
Let's see. The scout camp is southeast of the river. There should be a pond on the way.
Got it. What happens if a controlled burn gets out of control?
Someone gets fired.
Ugh, are you serious?
Oh, come on. That one was an honest accident. I'm not even in the mood for wordplay. That's how wound up all this shit has me.
There's some old snowmobiles out here.
That's crazy.
Looks like one of the poor bastards was cruising across this pond and dumped it.
That was not a fun hike back to civilization.
Whoa, someone stripped these snowmobiles down to the bone.
Huh.
I mean, that's weird, right?
I mean, I can come up with a bunch of not weird reasons someone would do that out here, but given what's happened, yeah. Yeah, that's weird.
There's an old pond out here, not much more than a pile of mud. Do you have it on your map?
Yeah, I know where you are.
Yeah? Where am I?
Pork Pond. There used to be a sign up for it, but, well, folks kept stealing it.
So, is the scout camp anywhere near Pork Pond? Because it's called Pork Pond.
It's a good goddamn name. That sign would look great in a den, or, anywhere.
Thing that is great about Pork Pond, other than it is called Pork Pond, which is a wonderful thing to say. You should want to say it.
Pork pond.
Pork Pond. Pork Pond.
It's not even really a pond.
It's barely a pond.
It's like a pork puddle, really.
It's pork puddle. It may have been a pond at one point. Later, dear player, hopefully you noticed that there is a Pork Pond sign in Delilah's lookout tower. After Delilah has told you, if you talk about Pork Pond, that people just keep stealing the sign. So
How
that's
it
why
looks
there's no
great
sign.
in like a den, or
A den, or
a
right in
lookout
front of
cabin,
me.
really.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that was really fun about making this game with such a small team, is that I named Pork Pond after my girlfriend's dog, Pork Belly, who I like very much. He has a Japanese chin, and he is very weird. And then I wrote the goof about the sign not being there because there wasn't a sign. And then the next thing I knew, someone said, "Oh, it should be in Delilah's lookout." I don't know if that was you, Jane, but that's the sort of thing you would do. Is
Might
you'd be like,
be.
"I was playing the game, and I felt like that Pork Pond sign should be in Delilah's
Like
tower."
if I were Delilah, I would have totally stolen it.
Exactly right. So then we just say yes, and we keep putting goofs into the game. So that is the Ballad of Pork Pond.
Pork puddle pond.
Pork Puddle Pond. I like this is our only tape together.
I know. And it's about
And
pork
it was
pond.
just us saying Pork Pond about 15 or 20 times. Pork
Pork
Pond.
pond. Hi, Jake.
Hey Jane, in this garden surrounded by scary mannequins seems like a great place to talk about how you figure out perspective and scale when making a level.
Yeah, so, when you start making a game, one of the first things you need to do is to have scale reference. So, what we did was just to download a bunch of free scale models, actually.
Yep, just some royalty-free, T-posed
Yes.
nude men and women.
I think like the man is just the default ZBrush man.
Before you put in the trees and before you put in the grass and before you put in the
Yeah.
rocks, when all you have is terrain, it can look like it's like a 6-foot wide hallway or it's like a quarter-mile wide and
Right.
you can't even tell in first person, but then once, boop, there's just a little nude man out there.
Yeah.
You really know.
Yeah, how tall is this tree? Oh my gosh, it's actually, it's a really tall tree.
Yeah,
Oh, it
well,
looks tiny before you
Yep.
put the scale man.
So there's also, you'll notice there's a collection of different scale men out here. When we first dropped our scale scale people in,
Yes.
they came in with some default material that was like this
It's-
glistening
Yeah.
onyx stone.
I think the default Unity material back then was just some very glossy black.
Yeah, so we had these like just rippling, glistening stone statues, including parts.
Full anatomy.
There were some parts that were very good at catching the light, and I think when Nels was gray boxing,
the bikini parts.
yeah, Nels was like, I gotta get in real close on some parts of this level, and I just don't know about this. So then the next day when we got latest,
It's very distracting when the gloss material is.
it's debatable though if that's more or less distracting than the jean shorts that were slapped on. It feels to me, Jane, like in early dev, as you got bored, you just kept like festooning the scale man with more stuff.
I think there was one of those times when I was like, is it worth spending 15 minutes to make myself happy?
Yes.
And I was like, yes.
And then
it's
like
worth
maybe
15 minutes
maybe
to
some
put
more time
jorts
to
on this.
add some love handles and
Oh, yes.
then like some heart-shaped chest hair. Who's to say? Who's
You
to
know,
say?
15 minutes turn into 30 minutes of fun, and now,
Oh man, by the end of the production,
It's
gray
so
box
worth
thing was
it.
really fun. Or like you'd know that there was someone was in there working because you would just see all these like love-handled jorts, Henry chest hair dudes floating all over the place.
I think my favorite parts is also when you've done level designing a space. Sometimes you've lifted the terrain without lifting the scale men. So sometimes once in a while I'm like, why is this area kind of not performing great, and I look under the earth, and there's like 4
There's just
buried,
floating
sailmen
memory
underneath.
nudes.
And I'm like,
fine.
oh, thanks, Jake. Delete.
It's fine. Yeah,
Those are my favorite little Jake surprises.
it's good. Or like you'll see one off in the sky. Like in this case, there's a couple deliberately way out in the distance, because I wanted people to look at how forced perspective works also. So zoom in on some jorts, guys. Be happy.
Oh, actually, another note about the scale lady here. She's actually the same model that we use for the teens in the lake.
Oh, that's true.
We just added a ponytail, really.
And sparklers.
I'm at the camp.
Great. Have a look around. If anyone's still there, they might be able to help.
I'm gonna sound crazy.
Maybe you just ask them to help you get inside the fence. If I didn't know it was out there, they probably don't either.
This place looks dead, but I'll see what I can find. You ever talked to any of the scouts?
No, they haven't been out here in a while, and I generally don't have a lot to say to preteens.
Unless it's Brian Goodwin.
Well, if forced, I mean, I can make conversation with anyone. Plus, it was sort of fun to hear about all of his nerdy hobbies.
Hi, this is Will.
And this is James again.
And if you look around, you should see a TV in front of you with a pretty weird-looking image on it. That is actually what Henry looks like from third person. So you're looking at Henry as we saw him in Unity Editor.
Yeah, Henry is very much sort of an ultimate Cronenberg nightmare. He's got sort of like, we call them the spider bones, where you can stretch his shoulders really far away from his torso. Early on, I remember looking at a GIF with the team of like how Crysis was doing their first-person stuff, and if you looked at it, you could sort of see his spine and neck becoming this mad giraffe creature. And we took that concept and ran with it. So we ended up sort of like almost any animation in the game, if you look at it from outside of the exact angle we want you to, it would completely destroy immersion and you'd be horrified and possibly sick.
Guess what?
What you got?
I found an axe back near that camp.
A firefighter left it?
Probably, yeah.
It's got like a funny little point.
Sure does.
Okay, that's called a Pulaski. It's standard issue.
Whatever. This Pulaski I found means I can start clearing these trails.
Coming up here on the end, Jacob,
Yes, Sean.
Henry and Delilah are talking, and then there's a clatter, and you realize there's just been an open third line on their conversation. And I remember coming up with this, or something like this, I think in my living room before we had an office in the summer and fall of 2013.
Yeah, the idea that you hear someone like cough over the radio seems like the sort of thing that got us really excited when we were in like day zero of talking about making Firewatch.
Yeah, we had another idea back in the lakeside of this day, the beginning of this day, where you would hear your conversation coming out of a radio nearby, but just the way our audio system worked and like the particular, like the peculiarities of trying to get that to work just never really read to the player when people would play it. But we had all these moments. This is sort of like the way we think about the design of a story like this in general, for better or for worse, at least this game, where we would sit down and just pitch each other all these moments that were really disconnected once we had a conceit. Like, there's somebody listening to you on the radio. Like, oh, a guy punches you out. Like, oh, you hear your voice coming from a bush, which we didn't end up using. Oh,
You rip your bed apart and find a bug under the mattress.
Oh my
and
God.
Someone was listening in your tower.
yeah, we
Like,
were gonna bug the tower.
I think we actually had a
Yeah.
bulletin board up in the office full of tiny post-it notes that were just cool ideas.
Cool story things.
And
that
if we could
happen.
find a place for them, we'd pull them off that and put them on the linear list of like Crit Path events.
Yeah, there's things that we could just sort of like put as little like mile markers in the story, and not knowing how you would get to them because you'd play your own way. But if we had enough of those in the story that were surprising, then maybe you, player, would like it.
Fuck, Henry.
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay. So what's next?
Well, I've got an axe, so I can figure out a way to get over the ravine and back towards the site.
Sounds good. Check in when you can, and keep an eye out for anyone following you.
I guess these little shelters are where they keep the Weeblos.
For the past 35 years, yeah. Are you there? I had a thought.
Let's hear it.
You heard someone in the bushes.
Yeah?
Okay, so let's assume we're being tailed. Or you are, at least. Where are you right now?
Just on my way back, in and out of trees in the middle of nowhere?
Do you see anybody?
No, definitely not.
All right, so tell me what you think of this. Did you just cough?
No. Did you just cough?
No.
Oh, fuck.
Fuck.
There isn't any way someone, like, another lookout could be on this line, is there?
No. Not without tapping our radios. Get in your tower, shut the door. Don't leave, and don't use your radio. I'll call you. Understand? I will call you.
Thoroughfare Tower, this is Two Forks calling you for the, 50th time today. The June fire continues to move in a southerly fashion. Delilah, for fuck's sake, answer your radio.
Hello, sunshine. Sorry, I went out for a little bit. What can I do you for?
I didn't sleep a wink last night, and I've been going crazy for the past 6 hours of sunup. How are you so chipper?
Well, it's a new day. What a day, this day we've been given.
Maybe I am actually asleep right now. Maybe I didn't stay up all night knowing that someone is...
I actually slept just great.
Okay.
By the way, I was wondering if your Flora of the Shoshone info poster was still up inside your tower?
What?
It's just protocol that those stay up. You know, info about your tower, the surrounding tree species, etc.
All right.
Just, you know, have a look at it. Make sure it's in ship shape.
Okay, yeah, it's up. Why are you acting like this?
Great. Just wonderful. Do you see the tree in the top row, second from the left?
Let me look at it and I'll tell you.
No. You don't need to tell me. Just, internalize it. It's a great tree. And there's an area called, that tree's name in your sector that maybe you should take a midday hike to. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe I should go for a hike.
Nothing like an afternoon in the Rockies, I tell ya. Radio me the moment you get there.
Which tree am I supposed to internalize again?
Top row, second from the left. Head to a place named after that tree, and you'll have a wonderful afternoon.
Hello, Chris.
Hey, Jake.
Good to see you on
I
this
know.
commentary.
It's been a little while.
So earlier, in a long time through Firewatch's development, the way that Day 76 used to end was with Delilah just basically freaking out. She and Henry got that call from Goodwin and just basically said, "Oh shit," and it ended on an ambiguous panic. It turned out that that actually put people in the situation you are in now at the start of Day 77, not knowing what to do. Like, we cut in with Henry at his desk sitting there, and everyone who played the game sort of thought, why is Henry just sitting at his desk when the last thing that happened was a huge freak out? And we rewrote it to be what you're seeing here, where Delilah actually says at the end of the day, sit where you are, don't do anything, wait for me to call. And then when it cuts and Henry's sitting in his chair, it makes sense. And I know that sounds completely obvious and maybe even dumb, that we did not initially have Delilah tell you to do what we then depict you doing.
Well, I think one of the reasons is because so much. This speaks to one of the biggest challenges honestly in designing the narrative for this game, which is a first-person game that also skips time. You know, in a movie, when a movie skips time, you can have the characters have done all sorts of things, and the viewer can catch up on that later, and there's tension in not knowing what happened in the missing time. You can't really have that stuff get filled in for the player character because you are that character.
Yeah,
and
even if there's cinematic cut time, your motivation as a player is a continuous line across the game, and obviously doesn't have a time skip unless you, the player, save,
Exactly.
walk away, and come back.
Yeah.
Realizing that we had to write Delilah to bridge that moment, it was a really good concrete example that stuck out to me of sort of how how the story and your expectation as a player and your sort of motivation to keep going have to line up as well as they do.
This scene was another big challenge because that whole chain of her getting you to Cottonwood Creek by way of this sort of